galactorsounds.com, making your life as a producer easier.
Hey, what's up? It's Tom from Galactor Sounds here, and today I want to share a little mixing trick that I've been applying to all of my projects lately. So let's first have a listen to what we're working with today. Now this melody comes from a free MIDI pack for Hardstyle and RAWSTYLE. If you're interested in more of these kind of melodies, I'll leave a link to that down below in the description. It comes with 20 melodies, it's completely for free, and it comes with the lead MIDIs, chord MIDIs, bass, arp, pad, sometimes even the harmonies. It includes some Serum presets, so if you're interested in that, make sure to check that out. Now all the sounds are created in Serum, and as you can see, there it says Serum Madness XL here, and that is actually my new preset bundle for Serum. I've crafted over 250 presets in the past few weeks specifically for Hardstyle music. So if you produce anything from Hardstyle to uptempo or anything in between, this pack is going to be a must-have. It includes leads, chords, basses, arps, pads, miscellaneous sounds, kicks, arps, plugs, and much more. But I'll be releasing this only when I hit 1,000 subscribers on this channel. I know I'm very close already, so let's make sure that we push through to that 1,000. So if you're not subscribed yet, make sure to hit that subscribe button, turn on the notifications so you don't miss out on any updates, and then as soon as we hit 1,000 subscribers, I will be releasing this pack and you guys have access to these insane presets. Now let's get back to the actual projects, because what I want to talk about is the processing on the lead bus and the chord bus that I have. I've routed all the single sounds to their own mixer channels, and then the leads go through a lead bus and the chords go through a chord bus. Then both buses go to these reverb and delay send, and then everything comes back together in this wet melody bus. But the little trick that I've been applying lately is a way to set the leads more apart from the chords, because sometimes I found my melody, like the sounds were clashing a little bit too much still with each other. So I was trying to figure out a way and set them apart a little bit more. And the way I do that is I put an accent on the highs for the leads and the mids for the chords, and it sounds very easy. It is a pretty easy trick, but let me show you how I do it. Because I used to do it with these two plugins, which are the FabFilter Pro MB and the Ozone Imager by Isotope. So I started off with this Pro MB, and what I basically do is I go to the mid band, which was from roughly 200 Hz to 3000 Hz. I put it into the compress mode, so it gets dynamically ducked down a little bit, and that's the key here. It's a dynamic compressor, it's not just a static one like the Fruity multiband compressor, for example. It's really reading the input signal at all times and then adjusting the bands accordingly. And for the highs, I'm not compressing but expanding it. So I'm actually increasing the volume a little bit dynamically from the highs and reducing it from the mids. And if I then go to the imager here, I leave the mid band the way it is, but the highs have an accent in the stereo image, so I'm widening up that a little bit. And these two things just make sure that you have a way better accent on the highs, and that the mids are not as present as usual. And if we're just gonna have a listen to that, it sounds, without any processing, it sounds like this. And with these two plugins, but I thought there might be an easier way to do this, and that's why I created a specific patcher preset. And with that patcher preset, it sounds like this. So as you can hear, it sounds very similar, so let's have a look what it actually does. Interface is completely simple, well, relatively easy, just because I wanted to keep it simple for you guys, easy to understand, not too many controls, just straight up. So in the middle you find this big knob to mix, and this allows you to blend in the wet signal to the dry signal. If you leave it all the way up, it is just a full process, and if you turn it down a little bit, the dry signal comes through. But I just like to keep the mix at 100% to just have control over the processing of my leads. Then I have a slide low cut slider over here, and this is a very subtle effect. So it goes from here roughly 180 Hertz to up roughly 400 Hertz. So it's a very subtle low cut, but it just makes sure that you can clean up the sound of your leads a little bit more. And then over here we have a slight gain increase or decrease. It's up to you. It's not a major difference. It's just to make either your leads or your chords, because I also created the similar preset for chords, to make them stand out a little bit more or less. That's up to you. And then we have these mid bands and high bands, and we just have 4 basic controls. So the input volume, if you want to reduce it a little bit or increase a little bit, that's up to you. It's also depending on the sound of your leads, of course. I just like to keep it in the middle at 50%. And then we go to the threshold, which is just the usual compression parameter. And then for the mids, we have the compression, and the highs, we have the expansion. Now these are just the basic settings, and I love using that because I know that it works for my leads, but you might have to play around with these settings a little bit according to your leads. And then we have these stereo sliders over here, and also very easy. The further you take it down, the more the sound gets pushed to the side of the stereo image, and if you move it up, it gets more pushed towards the center of the mix. So you can give different accents to that as well, and that's basically up to you what you want. And that's pretty much it for the preset itself. Like I said, it's very simple. I wanted to have a clean, simple interface, self-explanatory, and I think this is very easy for you guys to use. Everyone with FL Studio can open it because I used only FL Studio's native plugins, as you can see. Now there might be one button that you're missing here, which is actually the crossover slider, and I decided not to include that because I'm using the frequency splitter, and the crossover of the bands is at 3000 Hertz. And since I created the same preset but then for the chords, which is doing the opposite, but I'll get to that later, I decided not to change that, or I have a button for that. So if you want to change that, you're gonna have to do that manually, like adjust this band, copy the value, and then go back to your leads, and then paste that value into the frequency splitter over here. I just found that the 3 kHz crossover does the job for me. I don't need to adjust it, but if you need to, you know how to do it. But like I said, I'm putting the accent on the highs for the leads, and in order to do it at the chords, I'm simply doing the opposite basically. So what I do is just bring this over here to the chord bus, and instead of compressing the mids, we're just expanding it here right now, and we're gonna compress the highs, something like that. And same for the imager, then we're doing the opposite. So we bring the highs back to the center, and we're pushing the mids a little bit more open into the frequency the stereo spectrum. And that's how you can easily put an accent on the mids at the chords and separate it from your leads. And I just really like to use this trick in my melodies lately because it makes it so much cleaner. So let's have a listen to before and after. This is with the patcher presets on. And this is without. And you can clearly hear now that they're more fighting for the same frequency ranges, and with this easy patcher preset, it just cleans it up so much. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this little quick tip. As you can see, you can do it with the Pro MB and the Ozone Imager, but I think this one is just easier because not everyone might have these plugins, and these patcher presets are completely for free. I will leave a link to that down below in the description. And then I want to say thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.